How's everybody doing today? Today, I have replaced every current NBA team with their greatest team in NBA history. So starting off here, we got the 76ers, and unfortunately, they didn't have the 76ers best team. In my opinion, I think it was the 83 year with Moses Malone and Julius Erving. They didn't have that in the game, so I had the 77 76ers in the game, but I put Moses Malone on the team. It's the closest we could get to their best team, so that's what we got, Moses Malone and Dr. J leading the 76ers. Up next, we got the Bucks, and this is their best team in NBA history, the 71 Bucks, with Kareem and Oscar Robertson. For the Bulls, of course, we got the 96 Bulls, led by MJ, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, their first of two three-peats. Moving on to the Cavaliers, of course, we got the 2016 Cavs, where they defeated the Warriors in the finals. We got LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love on this team. Moving on to the Celtics, I ended up going with the 86 Celtics. The Celtics have had a lot of good teams in their franchise, but I think personally this is the best one with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. I mean, this team was just so good. They actually got 67 wins and won the NBA Finals this year. Going over to the Clippers, I have the current Clippers. I think this is their best team this year. Last year, they came up short, losing to the Nuggets, but this year, I think they'll do a little better. I think they can make the Western Conference Finals at least. It'll be a good battle with the Lakers as well. But it was either this or the 2014 Clippers, of course, with CP3, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. I ended up going with the current ones. Moving on to the Grizzlies, we got the 2013 Grizzlies. They had 56 wins this season, but they lost the Western Conference Finals. We got Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph, and Mike Conley leading this team. Moving over to the Atlanta Hawks, we got the 86 Hawks. This was actually the only Hawks team in the game. They're led by Dominique Wilkins, and that kind of drops off after that. For the Miami Heat, we got the 2013 Heat, of course, with LeBron, D-Wade, Chris Bosh. Great team. They should have won more championships than they did. For the Hornets, we got the 93 Hornets. This was the only Hornets team in the game. We got Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson on the team. Honestly, the current Hornets would be able to compete pretty well with this team. I don't think this team is going to do good at all. For the Jazz, we have the 98 Jazz. Of course, they lost back-to-back finals against the Bulls, led by Karl Malone and John Stockton. For the Kings, we got the 2002 Kings, who ended up losing the Western Conference Finals this year. We got Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, Mike Bibby, Doug Christie. A pretty solid team here. For the Knicks, we have the 72 Knicks. Now, they did win in 73, but that team wasn't in the game. Instead, it was the 72 Knicks in the game. Got Walt Frazier, Jerry Lucas, Dave Debossier, and Willis Reed. Moving over to the Lakers, there's so many Lakers teams we could have chosen here. Again, another franchise that has been good throughout their entire history, but I went with the 2001 Lakers. Of course, the three-peat, we had to go with them. Of course, led by Kobe and Shaq. Moving over to the Magic, we have another team with Shaq on it. This was the 95 Magic. They had 60 wins, but lost the Eastern Conference Finals to the Bulls. We got Shaq and Penny Hardaway leading them. For the Mavericks, we got the 2011 Mavs, of course, the team that took down LeBron James. For the Nets, we got the current Brooklyn Nets. I mean, this team is just so stacked right now. Durant, Harden, Kyrie, Dinwiddie isn't playing this season, but for this simulation, he will be. And we got LaMarcus Aldridge, and Blake Griffin's actually way down at a 78. For the Nuggets, we got the 2008 Denver Nuggets. This was actually the only Nuggets team in the game, so we didn't have much of a choice here. But they didn't do great in 08, but in 09, they lost the conference finals. This team led by Carmelo, Allen Iverson, and Marcus Camby. Next up, we got the Indiana Pacers. This is the only team that's actually in the game. We could have went with the Reggie Miller Pacers instead, but that team's not in the game, so this is what we're stuck with. Paul George, Roy Hibbert, and David West. For the Pelicans, we got the current Pelicans. It was the only Pelicans team in the game. The best team would have been the 2008 team with Chris Paul, but unfortunately, they weren't in the game, so we got the current Pelicans, Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball leading the team. For the Pistons, we got the 89 Pistons. Of course, they won it back-to-back. We got Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Mark Aguirre. For the Raptors, we have the 2019 Raptors, the only year they won the championship, led by Kawhi, Pascal, and Kyle Lowry. The Rockets, we got the 94 Rockets. They won it back-to-back when MJ actually wasn't in the league. led by Hakeem Olajuwon. Next up, we got the Spurs. And again, this is another franchise that has been so good throughout their history, but I ended up going with the 2014 Spurs. They took down LeBron James and the Heat to win this year. We had a young Kawhi Leonard get Finals MVP. Of course, led by Tim Duncan, Kawhi, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Danny Green. Was a lot better this year as well. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns. There was the 03 Suns and the 05 Suns in the game. I think this is the better team. They lost the Western Conference Finals this year, led by Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion. Moving on, we got the OKC Thunder. We got the 2012 Thunder here. Such a good team. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to win. They got Durant, Westbrook, Harden, and Serge Ibaka. Next up is the Timberwolves. We got the 2004 Timberwolves. They ended up losing the Western Conference Finals this year. Got Kevin Garnett, Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell. Pretty solid team here. Up next, we got the 2010 Portland Trailblazers. Now, they only had two Trailblazers teams in this game, 2010 and 2000. I think the 2010 team is a little better. They didn't have the 77 team, though, which actually won the championship. But 2010, we got Brandon Roy, Aldridge, Batum, Greg Oden, Andre Miller. Pretty solid team here. Next up, we got the Golden State Warriors. And, of course, we got the 2017 Warriors when Durant came to the team. Durant, Curry, Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. This team is just so good. And then moving on to our final team, we got the 2007 Washington Wizards. This was actually the only Wizards team in the game. They won it in 78, but they weren't in the game, so this is what we got. Of course, led by Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jameson, Jerome Butler. But that is going to be all of our teams. I guess that ended up taking quite a while, but let's just get right in the simulation. We're going to be running a normal simulation, normal season simulation. Find out which teams come out on top, which players do the best. And this will actually be pretty interesting. Okay, so we're making our way to the All-Star Draft, and pretty surprising here, our two players are going to be Hakeem Olajuwon and Moses Malone as our two captains. Making it on Team Hakeem, we got LeBron, Harden, Karl Malone, and Kobe Bryant starting. And on Team Moses, we got MJ, LeBron, Garnett, and Steph Curry starting. So LeBron starting for both teams. All-Star Weekend, it was Dirk Nowitzki winning the three-point contest and Julius Erving winning the slam dunk contest. And Team Moses beat Team Hakeem 118 to 116 in the All-Star game. Checking out the awards, Moses Malone ends up getting MVP, 33.6 points per game and 21 rebounds. Are you kidding me? That is some crazy stats. Sixth man of the year is going to go to Manu Ginobili. We got no rookie of the year trophy because I guess nobody is a rookie. But Ginobili, sixth man. Michael Jordan gets defensive player of the year. He averaged 36 points. We're going to have some crazy stats this season. Zubac gets most improved player. Steve Nash is going to get coach of the year with 58 wins on the season. So current Nets looking like they're the top team. But going over to our All-NBA first teams, we got Michael Jordan, Gilbert Arenas makes the first team, got Karl Malone, LeBron James, and Moses Malone. On the second team, we got Steph Curry, Harden, Kevin Garnett, LeBron again, and Hakeem. And on the third team, we got Russell Westbrook, Penny Hardaway, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, and Shaquille O'Neal. Here's our all-defensive first team and our all-defensive second team as well. All right, so let's start this thing off by going over all the standings, starting in the East. So it was the 77 or 83 76ers, this team pretty much is, that does the best with 59 wins on the season in the East. Then we had the Nets, 13 Heat, 96 Bulls, 19 Raptors, doing pretty good, 16 Cavs, 86 Celtics, 95 Magic are going to be the final team to make playoffs. 89 Pistons didn't make it in. 07 Wizards, 71 Bucks, 14 Pacers, 93 Hornets, 72 Knicks, and the 86 Hawks were the worst team. A lot of these teams down here were only in here because they're the only team in the game, and they end up doing the worst. Going over to the West, it's the 17 Warriors with the best record, 58 wins. Then it was the 02 Kings, Clippers, 14 Spurs, 08 Nuggets, 11 Mavs, 05 Suns, 2012 Thunder, and the New Orleans Pelicans were 2 wins off making the playoffs. The current Pelicans did better than half of these teams, which is so funny. Then we had the 94 Rockets. The 2001 Lakers didn't make playoffs. 2010 Trailblazers. The 98 Jazz didn't make it in there. And the worst team in the West, actually the worst team in the entire NBA, is the 2013 Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, honestly, not what I expected from these standings. I'd expect the 17 Warriors to be on top, a few of these teams to be on top as well, but other than that, pretty crazy standings. We'll go over to our league leaders next, and for points per game, it's of course Michael Jordan with 36 points per game. Dominique went off, Moses Malone, Hakeem, Gilbert Arenas with 31. A lot of players with over 30 points per game. 9 players with over 30 points per game. And then Steph Curry was almost there too. I mean, so many great scores this season. It's pretty crazy. For rebounds per game, of course, it's Moses Malone averaging 21.4. Crazy season for him. Hakeem up there. Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Are there any current players up here? I guess Kevin Love. For assists per game, it was Steve Nash, the only player with over 10 assists per game, and he had nearly 12. 11.9 assists per game. LeBron, Westbrook, Curry, John Stockton. I mean, all the guys you would expect to be up there. Steals were led by Michael Jordan. Blocks per game, it was Shaq with 4 blocks per game. Zion had the best field goal percentage, 65% from the field. It was Zion and Steven Adams, so 2 current players at the top. 3-point percentage, it was Dirk Nowitzki, the winner of the 3-point contest. Wonder where Steph Curry, Del Curry actually shot better than Steph Curry, who's only 15th in the league. And lastly, I guess free throw percentage at Steve Kerr. And then minutes per game, Mike Conley and Penny Hardaway, both with over 40 minutes per game. Without further ado, let's hop in the playoffs and see who's going to win the NBA Finals here. Start off with the first round. And making it out of the first round, we have a bunch of upsets. So starting off here, the 2012 Thunder beat the 17 Warriors. I mean, the 17 Warriors were possibly the greatest team in NBA history. The 2012 Thunder, it was Durant versus Durant, and Durant ends up winning. The 14 Spurs beat the 08 Nuggets. The current Clippers beat the 2011 Mavs, and the 02 Kings beat the 05 Suns. Going over the East, it was the 77 76ers beating the 95 Magic. The 19 Raptors with a huge upset over the 96 Bulls. The 16 Cavs beat the 13 Heat. This, another matchup with 2 players. It was LeBron versus LeBron. LeBron ends up winning. And then finally, it was the current Nets beating out the 86 Celtics. Simulating another round here in the East, it's going to be the top 2 seeds moving on. We got the 77 Sixers versus the 21 Brooklyn Nets. And in the West, honestly, not the 2 teams I thought would have made it out, but the 02 Kings facing off against the 2012 Thunder. And making it to the NBA Finals, we got the 2002 Kings against the 77 Sixers. Not what I expected. This is not the 2 teams I would have picked, but here we are. This is NBA 2K, of course. And let's start this thing off. So game number 1 goes to the 76ers. Game 2 goes to the Kings. Game 3 to the 76ers. Game 4 to the 76ers. And in game 5, the 76ers are going to win this one quite easily. So I guess it's the 83 76ers are going to be our champions here, led by Moses Malone and Dr. J. Honestly, pretty surprising they ended up winning this thing. I can't believe the Kings made it this far. If I were to pick the greatest teams of all time, I would have said 96 Bulls, 17 Warriors. The current Nets are pretty good in this game. The 13 Heat, but just none of those teams end up making it here. It is a 2K sim after all. You never know what's going to happen. Literally anything can happen in these sims. I'm surprised the Pelicans didn't win because 2K loves them. So, and Moses Malone is going to be our Finals MVP. Regular season MVP, Finals MVP. Great season for him. Moses Malone with 38 and 24 in game 5 here. Chris Webber also going off 35 and 12. So Moses Malone in the finals averaged nearly 33 points per game and 20 rebounds. That is just insane. He's a 97 overall. There it is. That's going to be it for this simulation. If you guys did enjoy, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. This has been your boy Smeagol, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Never at ease, I don't know a limit. Chasing a dream, I don't know what sleepers. I got a queen, she lit me the evening. She ripe like a peach and she snapped me the snippet. You well overdue for that link up in person. Text me to fall through a murder, she wrote it. Still up with courage, you're doing a service. Pull up to the crib, I'm equipped with the brush strokes. Cutthroat from the low, when no love.